Hello and welcome back to day 5 final recap BCPA Illinois hunting trip. I said recap. So I would have. Okay. Are we just gonna cut straight into the recaps? Individual recaps?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I was by myself on the farm today. Got in there, got in the stand, and was in there for probably about 30 minutes or so, and two doe came down probably about, one came down to about 35 yards in front of the stand, and I was getting ready to take the shot, but I still couldn't see because it was still dark, so I didn't take the shot. Waited, put its tail up, ran back out to about 55 yards on the little island where the blind was, and then they meandered in the field for probably about an hour.
Just blind.
And just blind, yeah. And then ran off. I sat in the stand for a little bit. I kept like sliding because the stand is like, it's got like a curved seat, and I don't know if it's just like the way that I sit or what, but I just kept sliding. So then I made the move down to the blind. Also figured too, the one deer that didn't come to me came to the edge closer to the blind, and I thought, man, if they come back in the evening, I might have a better chance from the blind. So I moved down there, took a brief shut eye, probably about 30 minutes, around 11, and then I guess at around 1 o'clock, I did not see it, but a border collie ran up probably about 10 yards from the blind in front of the camera. I don't know how I didn't see it. It didn't make any noise. And Scott has a picture of it on his cell cam. I was not asleep at that point. I promise you, I was not. But that was it. That was my day. I was in retrospect today, just looking back on this week and how far I've come, and how much I've grown, and yeah, that was my day.
So, my day. Went down to, we decided to go near where Tim saw the big buck yesterday. Got in the stand and got set up extremely quietly. And then, like 10 minutes after sitting in the stand, I hear like deer walking. And it's just one single deer. So I think it was a buck, but I don't know because I couldn't see it. It sounded like it was, by my sound, how far I judge by sound, it was about 80 to 100 yards away. So it was up on top, probably walking that ridge up on top. But then a bunch of squirrels, so I left that and then went back to the soybean patch for the evening hunt and didn't see anything until the last hour when it got real western, real quick. There was like, all of a sudden, 3 deer pop out, 3 doe, 1 mom and like 2 little ones. And I'm like, oh fuck. Like I had my head down on my saddle. Like I was just like kind of like Patrick said, like reflecting. So I was like reflecting, and then like I look up and I see these 3 deer and I feel like, oh, this might actually happen. This might happen. And they're just grazing in the patch, and she looked over at me and like stomped her foot, and I was like, I didn't even move. What happened? There was a squirrel like raising hell beside me, like running around, jetting back and forth. So maybe that's what it was. But she got kind of irritated and moved off a little quicker. And then behind her came 2 more doe, and then I could tell that was a really nice buck without even looking through the binos, about 110 yards away. And he was just following her, all the little herd of doe into like the point of the mountain in front of me. So I was like, well, might as well just try it. So I tried grunting at him like a few times. He actually turned and looked right at me. But I feel like if I had a decoy.
Tongue out at you?
What?
Did he stick his tongue out at you?
I couldn't see that. I couldn't see that well. But I feel like if I had a decoy at that moment, I feel like he would have probably beelined it right for me. And then he turned, went away again, and I grunted again. And this time his head came directly towards me, and his body completely twisted. And I was like, oh, come on, please. Come on. But he didn't want anything, so he went up into the woods. I went right up on top. I watched them the whole time. They were running around, like, looked like they were playing on top. Like, they were just running around up on top. And then about 5 p.m., I had, like, I guess 15 minutes of light in the field. And I look over and, like, 2 more doe come out. And then another doe comes out. And then more doe start coming out. I'm like, oh, great. I guess I'm going to have to, like, get out of here and try not to bust them out. I had to get my saddle down. I had to get my sticks down. By the time I got out into the field, they were all gone anyway. So it is what it is. But apparently Ethan bumped them over to me. So he made it harder for me to get out of my stand and not bump everything. But yeah.
No, because I went up on top in the morning. I heard something walking behind me, but again, it was way too dark to be able to see it. So I just sat there, just stared up, just listening to it to see. And then it was long gone by the time first light came around. Nothing. Moved around. It was around lunchtime. That was when me and Cody moved. I went across the street to the other farm over there, up in the blinds. Sat there. Literally 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes to go before sundown. I had deer come out. I had a deer come out. He was about 75 yards to my left. I could see antlers, but it was like a little fork. Like it was nothing, obviously nothing I was going to shoot. And then more came out. And then I think more of them came out about 75 yards to my right. I can hear them walking through the woods, and they just went down the fence line. And there must be an extra low point on the fence. And they just hopped over there. They went the whole way down. I was like, just if they would have crossed literally right where I wanted them to cross. They could jump over the fence at any point, but they went to the extra low port.
Yeah.
But yeah, once they came out, they went towards the barn. So they were good 200 yards away from me, and at that point they just started turning into blobs, and I was like, well, my day's over. So I got out, started walking down to the road, and then they ran, and then I guess they ran over to Cody, and that's when he got to see all of them running over to him. And that was it.
Jeff?
Well, not to rub it in, but old man 1, young bucks 0. No, today was interesting. Had to hike down a little road that was nice and hilly, and got to my spot, and I could have swore I was in Wilderness Sanctuary City, because it was just polluted with birds and squirrels and everything but brown deer.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there, and the squirrels are just running all over the place. 6 cardinals, 3 female cardinals. It was like a freaking airport, in and out, back and forth, back and forth. I was like, okay, this is gonna be fun. And the squirrels, they were running behind me, so every time I heard something, it was like, no, that's a squirrel. Well, it got to around 3:30, and all of a sudden I heard this crashing. Like if you're looking at the tree stand across from me, to the right of that tree stand, it's pretty thick right there. And this crashing's coming from somewhere, I don't know where, but it was in that area. And I got the crossbow up, and I'm waiting for this something to jump out. Never came out. Don't know where it went. Didn't even see it. Just heard crashing. So I said, okay. So about 4:45, I said, I'm leaving. I'm done. I'm going to walk back because I wanted to see what this woods looked like in the daytime. And I saw assholes running away from me, but I was surprised the hill was actually as steep as it was. I didn't think it was that steep, but yeah, I stopped twice.
When I was in the stand this morning, I was like, man, I wonder if Jeff actually made it down there and didn't like just roll down the hill.
It was interesting. I mean, I've trekked more,
Right.
steeper shit than that, but when I was younger, though.
Right. Yeah.
And then I got up top. Did you know your squirrels are night squirrels? Them sons of bitches are up. I could see them in the silhouettes running through the trees at nighttime. I'm like, hell, up in Pennsylvania, them sons, they're in bed by 4. So yeah, I got the chair out of the blind, and I carried it back up, and I'm sitting at the T of the road, and I hear the side by side coming up, and I see the lights getting closer and closer and closer, and I'm like, I hope the hell he slows down. He turned the corner and almost ran me over. I don't know if I fell or not. I know I jumped out of the chair. He said, you should have stayed down there. I didn't know that Tim was down at the bottom down there, but yeah. And I was just sitting there. I was watching the sunset as it went down in the horizon, and that was pretty cool. And then I just watched as it went away, and it got dark. And I was listening to there were deer. I think a couple of them came up behind me and snorted and ran back down the hill. After I was sitting there for a while. But other than that, I mean, it was a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim?
It started out slow for me, and then about 3:30, I saw my first deer, buck, half rack. And then about 5 minutes later, I see another little buck. And then by then, it's probably 4. Saw my next one.
Another buck.
Another buck. And then Scott sends me a message, asks me what I'm seeing. I said 3. I send the message, next thing I know, one's coming behind me.
Oh my God.
And at first I thought it was a good one, but it ended up just being a small one. I drew on it, just to see if I still had it.
Yeah.
And then that was about 4:30. Probably 5-10 minutes later, 2 more, one behind me and one in front of me, come out.
2 more buck.
Yeah, and then a doe comes out of the little food plot.
My
So it was an
God.
eventful night.
Wow.
Hour and a half,
Yeah.
7 deer.
All day sit for that.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
Yep.
Man,
That makes it worth it, though.
Yep. 100%.
Like an hour and a half of seeing deer and an all-day sit. Like, I'll take that all-day sit any day if I get to see an hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. So what made you not want to pull the trigger? Just because he was smaller than what you already have, pretty much.
Yeah, he'll be a good one next
Yeah.
year.
Like you have a certain caliber that you go after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So my question is for everyone here: what did you learn from the season? I know we've only been out for 5 days, but like for you guys, what did you learn from this season that you're going to take into next season too? So like, Ethan, what did you learn from this trip that if we come out here again, when we come out here again, whatever, what would you do differently next time?
Upgrade some of my gear for sure. Realized it's back in PA, I'd hunt opening day of rifle season, and then I'm done. I don't go out for late season for deer at all. So I never needed that super cold, kind of gear. Just a 30s without wind, and that's all I needed. So upgrading gear for sure would be the one thing that I would need to do. And plus, even if I don't use it as much in Pennsylvania, it doesn't hurt to have it, just in case we do have some cold days. So
Right.
it would be nice to have it.
Yeah. Tim, you want to go next?
Hunt the rut.
Rut deer? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, change different times. Still come down late season.
Yeah, this is my 4th late season hunt. It's so tough.
Down here in Illinois or just in general?
No, anywhere.
Okay.
Any state across the board.
Yeah.
It's so tough to get on a good deer.
Now, when you do the other late seasons in other states, do you do all day sits or do you do the morning?
Nah,
evening?
usually I only hunt till 9.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Drink for a little bit, go back out. Yeah.
I think that's what I would change up is doing the whole morning hunt till 9, 9:30, 10 o'clock, whatever.
But it's
And
so
then go
hard
back
though,
out.
they're gonna move.
Yeah,
And the biggest ones can move at that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just like the one, Scott, you got on trail cameras happen at 1 o'clock. So I mean, it can happen anytime. So, but I've seen them when I was out. Saw the most action like in the evening, in food. Like that's probably what I would primarily hunt late season down here, honestly. So that's what I would change, and also warmer clothes, so I don't have to wear 5 layers.
Yeah.
Me? What did I learn? Oh man, these Bloody Mary. First of all, Scott makes a mean Bloody Mary. It's so good, and I am on my second cup, and I feel pretty good right now. It's a sweet gherkin. It's getting to me. No, honestly, this week, I think more than anything, I learned just about like what is hunting, like what. It's not just getting out in the woods. It's not just scouting. It's not just taking the shot. It's about you and your character and how you get out and continue to persevere. Like no holds barred. Like this week was tough. It was tough. It was cold. It was windy. The weather was not what I expected. I was not prepared with my gear, personally, especially being a new hunter. Like most of the stuff that I had, a lot of stuff came from you. And then like a lot of the remainder came from like Walmart, whatever I could bargain buy, you know. Yeah, I had like a $50, like I did a $50 Walmart, not Walmart, Facebook Marketplace exchange. And I got like just a bunch of random stuff. But I don't know. Looking back, it was fun. I loved being here in the lodge. This lodge is like a great spot. Like I would come back just for B&D, but also like getting out and experiencing like just how different Pennsylvania is from Illinois, like that really, and just all the different thoughts that are running through my head now, and like when I'm in the woods of like the ground is softer in Illinois, right? So when you get out there, the sign is like, it's crazy, right? Like you see hoof marks everywhere, and you see like droppings everywhere, and it's just like everywhere. But there's more deer here, and they have their choice of food, right? Like it's all Illinois is farms, right? So it's like their choice of food is abundant, and like that's so different from PA, and it makes me think of how I'm going to go back home and experience late season. January is going to be very busy for me, so I mean I'll maybe get like 1 or 2 sits in maybe on the farm. But like even just that, I was in a tree stand. Like I'm not a huge fan of tree stands, but I was in a tree stand every single day this week, all day, 12 hours. I put 60 hours in this week, and it made me think of what we've talked about before about days, right? Like if you're, what was it with Heated Hunts? It was like, oh, if you're out in the woods 20 days. You know, like you've gotten your experience that you need for the year as a hunter.
You're an above average hunter.
But what about hours, man? You know, like I play a lot of video games, right? And everybody says when you play a game, and they say, what are your hours? They say, how many hours have you spent on this game? And to be honest, like I think that hunting's the same way, right? Because if you spend 20 days in the woods, but you go out and you're breakfast club, right? And you're out for an hour and a half, 2 hours in the woods, 3 hours maybe in the woods. You spend 20 days in the woods and you only do 2 hours each day. That's 40 hours. But if you do 10 hours and you're out in the woods for 20 days, that's 200 hours. That's a huge fucking difference.
That is.
Right? And so like I think that this week has really made me realize the difference between putting in the hours, putting in the work, and then just like the difference in like these are totally different animals from what we have back home. I guess I need to summarize, right? Like to summarize, it was a great trip, right? Like I had a lot of fun, made the trip out here, spent every day in the woods, learned something new every day, felt like Cinderella half the time.
What did you learn today?
Today I learned that I think it's weird because what was it? Was it yesterday? It was 2 days ago, day 3. I had the deer come out to me in the morning, and it was staring at me the whole time. Walked around the tree, and I was like, man, I just should have lined up, did the best I could, and taken the shot. But like the process, right? We talk about that a lot, and like still haven't got a deer. Being a fairly young hunter, especially in my experience, first year hunting really on my own, just like being okay with, I'm probably not going to get anything this year. I'm going to eat tag soup this year. And you know what? That's okay. Because when I get that first deer, man, it's fucking sweet, dude. It's going to be such a great feeling. And all the things that I'm learning about deer patterns and how like the doe, like I have my bleat can, and I said, I haven't really worked with the grunt call at all this season, and you were like, hey man, you want to take this grunt call, and I was like, I'm gonna stick to what I know. So I've been mostly working with the bleat can, and like doe don't give a shit about the bleat can, right? Like they're just like whatever, and I'm there, I'm rocking it. I'm like, and they're just like, oh, see ya. See ya, Mavis. I'm on my way to the next spot, right? I think it was interesting, the farm. I don't know, like, I don't want to speak for B&D and their properties, right? But, like, the farm that I was on, I'm pretty sure 1, maybe 2 buck running that whole farm. Big property, right? You said, what, Scott, like 6, 7 buck on that farm taken this year?
Killed this year? Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't see any buck on this trip. And that's to no discredit of anyone. It's just, I just didn't see them. Because they're going where the food is. And they're fucking tired. Like, you gave the bleat, right, to them when you were looking at them out in the field, and you gave them the grunt, and they're just like, man, like this isn't even worth it to me right now, right? Because they're tired. The time of year, the weather, everything. Like I've learned so much in that regard. That's how I'd wrap it up. Is the weather and the way that the deer interact with the rut, post-rut, time of year, and their geography. I mean, I think, again, the most interesting thing to me is we got out here, and I mean, the sign is crazy. But when you have twice as many deer as PA, and the ground is softer, and every single step leaves a mark, of course, you're going to see hoof marks everywhere, and you're going to be like, oh, this is crazy. Chances are they're out running around at 2, 3 in the morning, and that's why we're not seeing them, right? Like, and that's to no discredit of anyone. It's just, but then also we have good guides and put us in the best spots that they know that they can put us, and then we put in the effort of being out there all day, right? We all put in 60 plus hours this week. That's wild, right? Because
2 hours for Tim and I.
Okay, well, you and Tim, yeah.
Yeah.
You're sending me pictures of chicken tenders and potatoes. Yeah, French fries. French fries are potatoes.
Yeah, they are potatoes.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, we put in the effort too. And I think that's... This morning I could tell you were a little discouraged. I could tell. And I said something to Steve. I said, man, I hope Cody's doing okay. I could tell he was a little discouraged this morning. But like we fucking put in the effort this week. We 60 plus hours in the woods just sitting there. And like anyone else, Scott would say too.
Or two.
I'm actually, Jeff, I didn't even finish the second one, so that's 1.5 in. I'm feeling pretty fucking good right now.
I can tell.
But I will say, like,
You get a beer.
I'm just trying to let everyone know that, like, we
Yeah.
this and part of it's to myself
Take a
too,
nap a
right?
while.
Is like I
Thank you.
like we put in work, and we should be proud of ourselves. And there were a couple points right throughout the week where I was like, man, you know, this trip isn't quite what I expected. You know, how are we gonna make this the best of what we can out of this trip? And I think that this week, today, really made me think about. We put in the effort. I learned a lot, and I'm ready for what next year. Even if I only get to sit once late season back home, or not even at all, I'm gonna be ready for next year, and I have a lot of different things that I'm ready for next year.
And just
Great
to
answer.
add to what Patrick said, I'll just say ditto.
In such few
Yeah.
words. No, this is what's interesting about you guys is, you know, I've listened to your podcast before. I met you in Harrisburg. I thought each and every one of you have killed, let's just say 160 or better.
Yeah.
I was not expecting guys who, one, have never shot a deer. One, really, who just got into archery hunting. Two, actually, just got into archery hunting. You know, you guys were very diverse in that way, but 4 guys. So, one that was new to climbing, one that just started archery hunting, one that just started hunting in general, one who has some pretty good experience, killed some decent ones, but nothing giant. You know, and you're running this podcast. I thought that was very interesting. Seriously, like I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Like when Patrick sat down, he's like, "I've never shot a deer before." I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't say it, but I'm like, what? You know, and
Why
you're
not
on
have you guys come down here?
you're on a hunting podcast talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, and like you think I was joking, but like, you know, I would like to have Pat out here because you listen to him talk about sitting in the woods for 60 hours. When you get around guys who have killed 200 inchers and they've killed booners and, you know, they've hunted out here for the last 4 years, and you ask them about all 4 years and you ask them about their experiences and then about around the country, like the shit you learn, like is just, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, every day I learn.
Yeah.
You know, like this year, like you're talking about learning. I learned like the farm you guys were on tonight, majority of us, besides Pat. We're not going to touch that till the last week of October. So next year, one of our best weeks, to me it's our best week, falls where you arrive on October 30th, hunt October 31st. So Halloween's your first day of your hunt. Your last day of your hunt's November 4th. You leave on the 5th. Right there, it's never felt like that. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. And you don't touch, let's just say Macaulay, 1,400 acres of timber like that. You don't touch it all October.
Yeah.
And then boom, you just send the all-stars in there for that week. I mean, it's going to be nuts.
How many people would you sit on that property at one time?
The old outfitter, the caretaker told me used to hunt anywhere from 16 to 20 guys with a bow. We don't do that. You know, we'll run 12 to 14 guys a week. But that week next year, there's 7 quadrants. We're probably going to run 8 guys over there.
Okay.
But I mean, shit, you're hunting with a bow. I mean, you know, you could be 500 yards apart. You have no
Right.
clue. You're hunting different deer, hunting different transition areas, different acorn ridges. I mean, there's so many options over there, and we've learned a ton about it this year.
Yeah.
At that
You know?
at that time of the year, when you send 12 guys out, what percentage of them guys get?
So like this year, well, you can't look at kill rate because we've had over 25 misses this year. Can't look at that. You look at opportunity rate. So that week this year would have been our pre-rut week. We were running probably 80% opportunity rates. You
That's
know,
good
that's
numbers.
not kill rate. That's opportunity.
That's
you know,
good numbers, though.
Yeah.
and then like you look at first gun over there. You're hunting the rut with a gun. You know, out of 13 guys, 12 guys shot their gun. That's huge.
Yeah. And when
know.
you say gun in Illinois, is it actually a rifle or is it
No, it's just
muzzler?
slugs and muzzies, but
Okay, all right.
you know they're gonna go to straight wall casings next year, and
Okay.
you know, realistically, them Savages, you know, them 20 gauges are shooting 250 yards like a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, guys are bringing inlines now that are good up to 400 yards.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things. But yeah, I mean, you're here in the late season. That's what happens. That's what happens. We get guys that come out here early, and the early season hunt's different. Mid-October hunt is different.
Yeah.
Pre-rut is different. Rut is different. Everything is different. But every year we find out these guys come out the first week of season. It's tough. It's hot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you get a cold spell that you drop into the 60s, it's going to be like a game changer. It's going to be huge. 2 years ago, it dropped like 62 one time, and we just killed the shit out of it because of that temperature change. But, you know, you find those guys who come out early in October, they understand it. They're hunters. Hey, it was tough. We killed a few. I want to come out for the rut. Well, now they're coming out, you know, late October, first couple weeks of November. They're taking a gun hunt. You know what I mean? It gets them in the door.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Late season, this will always be my last week. I don't think I'll ever do January. You thought it was cold this week? You got no clue.
Was it like
This was like fucking
-5
Florida.
next week? -5?
Yeah, seriously,
Yeah.
like this was like Florida
Yeah.
compared to January.
Today was very.
I'm gonna be out in a goose blind in an A-frame in the middle of a cornfield with clients guiding goose hunts, thinking, "Oh my God, what the hell are we doing?"
Yeah.
You know, but that's a whole different story right there. But when you're in a deer stand like that, no. I mean, to the point where that air touches your face. I mean, it's over.
And
You
there's
know?
especially during our season, you cover your face during this weather, and like if you're not used to practicing with that face cover on, you might mess up your shot.
Yeah, that's
with
Good,
that.
that's a good
Yeah.
point, yeah.
Because like I honestly haven't shot with a full face shield on, so like I had just a half one on, so I could pull it down when I have to shoot.
So let's put this in perspective too. You know, Pat's talking about 60 hours, 5 days. We have never, this season, from October 1st to right now, including the rut, first gun, second gun, pre-rut, doesn't matter when, we have never had a full week where guys have sat all day.
Okay, so I'd like to have that in writing, and I want to get that
Seriously,
certified so that we are history.
No, seriously,
No,
that is, I mean, I'm telling, like I said it yesterday, and I'll keep saying it. We are the only guys in the counties right now where you guys sat all day. There is.
Well, we're used to that in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
We go out in the morning and we sit and we come back when it's dark.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just our nature to do that.
Yeah, but like I get guys here
and
during
then
the
there's
rut.
also the time when you want to say, okay, it's 12 o'clock, I'm done, I want to go in.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not that far away from your cabin or whatever.
I think that like,
But for the most part, it's just we go out and we stay out.
yeah, that's like why I brought it up is because like I wanted, like I know there were a couple moments like full disclosure this week where I was like, fuck man, like I'm ready to go home, like I'm just ready to be done, and like I just wanted one for myself because I need to encourage myself every now and again, but like for all of us that are here on this trip, like we put the work in, right? Like and big props to Steve and Mason and Scott for like they have the properties and they've done the scouting and they know where they want to put us. Like that's big too. But like we put in the effort to be out there and to be ready for whatever was going to come our way no matter what happens. And like there is credit that is due there. And that's why like that it's important to recognize, because if you don't give yourself credit in that regard, then it's easy to just be like, oh, fuck, I didn't see anything, there must be something wrong. Like how many times this week I've said, man, is there something wrong with me? Like is there something that I'm doing wrong? Am I out here, am I in the wrong place? Am I, you know, did I spray my clothes down wrong? Or did I not do what I was supposed to do? And it's like, man, like you can't get in that headspace because that's just gonna that's why some people just say, fuck it, I'm done. They don't want to go out and hunt anymore. And it's like, no, man. Steve said to me multiple times this week, never give up. And it's like, man, Steve, I don't plan on giving up, right? Like, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to get something. Eventually, it might be this year, it might be next year, it might be 5 years from now. I don't know, but I'm going to keep putting in the effort. And that's what matters. That's what makes it enjoyable to me.
Well, Patrick, just as a consolation, everybody that came on this trip will have Illinois meat to eat when they get home.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh, what a Christmas present. Thanks,
I'm going to
Jim.
process
Oh,
and burgers and sausage and whatever, but everybody will get some of it.
my spirits are lifted.
Such a nice guy. Thank you.
Like, he waited just until now to spring that nugget on us.
So I gotta see if anyone else gets one first before I can actually say that.
Yeah, I mean, like, how am I going to put this? Like, I just think about guys that come in during the rut, you know, and it's like, why? You know,
Yeah.
why are you coming in? These deer are chasing all day, deer are moving all day, and then you guys sit there in late season
Yeah.
and hunt all day. Because we're a phone call away. You got to understand, we're a phone call away. I mean, at any point, you know, but to be honest with you, there's areas where we won't put guys, we want guys, but we know they come out at 10 o'clock, we're not going to go in there.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of, you know, it hurts the client and it hurts us.
Yeah.
You know, but
Helps when you don't have service too.
yeah.
Can't call you.
Yeah, quick story about that. Quick story. So, not having service. A couple of years ago, had this guy from Lancaster. He come out here in Lancaster. Came out here in second gun, and I took him up this property we have up in New Canton, Illinois, which is a good to get. It's right along the Mississippi River. It's on backwater, so it's two sides, levee to levee, about 500 acres, timber strip. You got the ditch in between, which is a good 4 to 5 feet of water, and you got the other side of the ditch. That's our timber too. It goes right to the mouth of the Mississippi. So anyway, we leave here at 4 o'clock in the morning. I get him in his stand by 5, and I said, good luck. I said, call me if you get one. Second gun. So all day I don't hear anything. I'm texting this guy. He's not even getting them. So I told Brandy, I said, I'm going to go up there a little bit early. I'm going to go up at like 4 o'clock, give myself a good hour, glass the fields, because there's huge just commercial farming the whole way around this. So I get up there, and I just hit the dirt road, and I'm glassing. I see this orange sitting on the levee. There's my guy. I drive out there, and he didn't even have to say nothing. I said, what time did you shoot one? He goes, 7:35 this morning. I said, our side of the levee or the other side, the north side? He goes, the north side. I'm like, shit, because now it's another 45 minutes to only go 500 yards.
Right.
Because I got to go back on the highway, cut back through the northern bottoms, come down, farm roads, hit that. So, yeah, we ended up getting back at the lodge that night like 12:30 because then it's dark. I can't pinpoint exactly where that stand is. We're grid searching, me and him, looking for this deer. So then we get it back, and it was just me back in those days, and I said, I'll cape it out for you and quarter it. He goes, no, I just want to take the deer. And I said, well, sir, like, you know, we got to do that. He goes, no, it's fine. He had a minivan. So we're putting the deer up on his minivan. It was a nice buck, too.
On top of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, not
and
even in the back.
he's like, don't let the rack hit the paint. I'm like, all right. So he takes a Keystone light box, breaks it down, puts it underneath the antlers, and he drives back to Lancaster that way.
That's some redneck
So that
shit.
was interesting. But yeah, I'll never forget, like, you're talking about no service. That guy, and he told me, he's like, I thought about walking to town, but by the time I got to town, you probably would have been here.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Did-
yeah, you're probably right.
Can I add? I saw a fucking horse and buggy drive by today
Yeah, the
while
only-
I was sitting out in the woods, and I was like, "Is that a horse and buggy?" Like it was like clip clop, clip clop, clip clop, and I could hear it going by, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Where am I right now?" Like,
Pennsylvania.
Midwest or Lancaster?
Deer drives are coming, boys. Get ready.
Yeah, the Amish came out and do deer drives.
Oh.
So, Mason, what did you learn from this year? I mean, the first year out here.
I mean, the property the 1,400 acres that we majority hunted, I mean, that's the closest thing to Pennsylvania that you're going to see out here. And Scott and I discussed that, like, with our rut stands and that. basically what we do back home, the edge of ridges, coming out of hollows and that. But just me and Scott can agree on this. Every day that we have guys out there, we are learning that property. It's the first year that Scott had this property. All the intel we can take, we're learning. Like, what are these deer doing on these ridges? And that goes for early season, pre-rut, rut,
Yeah.
and especially late season now. And what you guys, late season, we all discussed that's tough. These deer have been through, everyone around here on these different properties that border us hunt.
Yeah.
These deer have been through pressure since October 1st.
Yeah.
And these bucks know that. But just learn that property in general. I mean, I can tell you where every stand is on that property. I learned that like the third day I was on that.
Yeah.
But in general, like every day we're learning, and we are still learning that property. I plan to come back out here in shed season, hang some more stands with Scott, do some shed hunting, and then going from there from next year. But access is one thing that we need to figure
Yeah,
out.
there was a difference about that this week too. So
Oh, yeah.
muzzleloader, we didn't see a lot over there. Okay, so now that was what, 3 days in between you guys and muzzleloader season.
Okay.
Right.
So there's 3 days break between us?
Something that happened was we weren't going in there 4 times a day. We weren't picking guys up for lunch, you know, and that made the difference because right now these late season bucks, number one, they're already leery. You know, like Mesa said, they've been through hell and back already.
Right.
So they're leery and they have their sanctuaries. That deer has his safe zone right now.
Yeah.
You know, he's not looking for pussy. He's trying to survive.
Right.
And he knows it's getting cold. And he's staying somewhere where he's comfortable, close enough to food, and it's easy in and out for him. You know, and the more, you know, just like that side-by-side, I mean, that property there, they open that up in the summer for people to hike and horseback ride. So them deer, number one, are already used to people. I believe that. I think that's huge for us.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think them deer are used to different smells, and just deer in Illinois in general. It's not like Maine where you can hunt for 2 months and not see a tail.
Yeah.
It's just that big of woods.
Yep.
There's deer in Maine that have never seen a person, never smelled a person. Out here, these deer are used to tractors, diesel, tobacco, cigarettes, you know, different noises, side-by-sides. I mean, they're used to so many things. I mean, the best time to hunt on a bean field or a cornfield is when they're combining it.
Yeah.
You know, them deer, they don't give a shit. You know, it's food,
Yep.
you know.
That's just a dinner bell for them.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
you know, this time of year, it's like they know what's going on. You know, and I think that made a difference too this week. You know, yeah, it was colder, but we saw more deer than we saw in muzzleloader, and I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
That we're not in and out all the time, and you know, like next year, like you know, especially the property you guys run, there's gonna be a lot of walkers. You know, we learned this year, like, we're gonna have certain drop-off points. You're gonna have to put
Yeah.
some miles on. I mean, because it hurts us. I guarantee you it hurts us.
Especially that back half of the property right there. I feel like Tim saw what, $5 today? Like, I mean, $6. Like they're definitely.
But
Yeah,
that's,
and there's a difference right there. Him and Jeff and you all start the morning. You're probably only 600 yards, 700 yards. Jeff and Tim are the farthest apart,
Yep.
and I bet it's 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
but
you know?
that's also part of the property that got the least pressure.
Yeah.
Because I mean, sure, we had hunters back there, but only time we really drove down there before, I'd say, second gun season was if we had a deer down there,
Right.
on the side by side.
Yeah.
So those deer could have picked up on that, especially that whole backside being a south-facing slope. This late season could have played a huge factor into that too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I think that definitely played a huge factor in it.
You know, and to go on about Pat's, what Pat said about over at the farm he was on. So the neighbor and I have become good friends, and he's also from Pennsylvania. They lease it out. They've been on there for like 5 or 6 years now, and he's got a hell of a piece over there. It's only like 150 acres, but it's beautiful.
Yeah. Is it mostly field or is it?
No, it's timber.
Timber?
But a lot of bedding over there.
Okay.
He has no food over there. And, I mean, he's sending me trail cam pics every week of these studs. Like, I don't even, like, you know, you were asking how many cameras were over there. I don't
Right.
got to put a lot of cameras over there because he's sending me all his pictures.
Yeah.
I'm seeing what he's got because I know they come over and eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, it's just a matter of them deer. Like, last night, I had 3 different bucks on camera over there, right in front of that blind. Yeah,
Wow.
from 12 to 3 in the morning, like
Yeah.
Pat said, you know,
Yep.
but it's hunting.
Yeah.
You know, where Tim started this week, today at like 3 o'clock to 4:30, I had 2 different bucks come through there.
Jeez.
You know?
I mean, that's the thing. Like the buck that I saw this evening, he was heading direction that I was set up in the saddle.
Yeah, but
So it's like,
but think about this: if you stay where you're at, that
Yeah.
buck's coming down over that hill. Those 2 are coming down over the hill to you.
Mm-hmm.
They could very easily start coming down quarter to where Jeff was at,
Yeah.
in that food plot, and go out west farther, or they could screen by both of you and drop down to where Tim was.
yeah,
You know, or they could cut back and go where Ethan started this morning.
yeah,
You know, like it's just, you know, and I think that's killed me this year. I've always had like a million stealth cams. Give a guy an SD card, hey, pull it at the end of the day or whenever you're coming in, let's check to see what we got. These stupid tactic cams, it's like, man, this bucks have been doing this for the last 4 days. Put a guy in there. Boom. Don't
Right.
show up.
yeah,
You know, but granted, they're only covering, what, 10 yards? Mm-hmm. You know, like, you don't see what's walking behind that camera. You don't
Right.
see to the right of it. You don't see to the left of it. You know, there's delays.
Yep.
But then you start overthinking, like, damn, I haven't got him on camera. Where is he?
yeah. Exactly. I mean, like
He's still there.
like the cell cam you have in the field that I was in this evening. It probably didn't catch those.
I
deer
didn't
that
see any
ran-
of those.
Yeah.
I didn't get an update. I didn't
Yep.
get a picture.
Yeah, so like it only catches what, like 10-yard radius. And
I didn't
also
get Mason driving back there to get you.
and me walking by it too.
Yeah, I didn't get any
Yeah.
of that.
So I mean, there's a big lag.
So
with
right there, I don't
cell
know.
cams in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought we lost Cody tonight.
Yeah, we did. We almost hit Jeff sitting on the road too. because-
Yeah.
Yeah, I started walking out there because I never
We
heard
didn't
you
even
drive
see
back.
you. We didn't even see you. We stopped. We thought, okay, well, he's not here. Maybe he's back where
Yeah.
he was in. So we went back there. And it was like, shit, he ain't even back here.
Yep.
Where the hell is he?
Yeah,
No, I didn't
And
because
then we
you
come
guys
back
drive
out and
back.
we see your flashlight.
I got Ethan at first. He was walking down that bean field. I waited for him, and I started driving back to beans. I'm like, oh, he has to get his saddle and that down. So I went back, got them. I came back, and you still weren't there. I was like,
I was at the main road.
I got my hopes up a little bit because you don't have service back there. But
I figured everyone's hopes were like, oh, did he get one?
Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't know, you're talking about learning. I used to
Yeah.
have so many crops, so many farms, but it was just covered in crops.
Yeah.
And we subleased a lot of them out this year because we got all timber, and that's what guys wanted. You know, I listened to my clients, you know, like Sean Kelly. He only hunts ground blinds. We built them 2-foot elevated 6x6 platforms.
Love the platform.
Pretty
My
good. You're-
feet did not get as cold.
no, and your chair's
Loved it.
not falling, you know,
Yeah,
sinking
didn't have
in.
to worry about that.
So that makes a big difference. I mean, but you listen to what your clients have to say. I mean, I have certain clients that have hunted with me through the years that they're going to give me feedback, good or bad. They're going to give me feedback, and that's what makes you better.
Yeah.
Because I've learned. So that mud room out there, when guys are getting changed in the morning, a lot of things are said, and they'll say something to one of my guides. Now I'm also a guy. This is the first time in my career I did not take a single guy out to a stand this week.
Yeah.
And it was different for me,
Thank you, Steve. You're welcome.
you know, but clients will tell my guides
And
things,
Mason.
but when I approach them,
Yeah.
they won't tell me. They'll say, oh yeah, everything's great.
Yeah.
I want that feedback.
Yeah.
That's how we
Absolutely.
get better.
Yep.
That's how we get better. Good or bad, I want it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
But one thing we've really learned this year is 50-50 crops and timber. We're not going to give up all of our crops next year. You got to have that food source early and like here in the late season. You
Yep.
know, you got to have it.
Yep.
Got to have it.
Yeah.
Well, I won't say that blinds, depending on how you use them or how you set them up, one works better than the other. But I think as a hunter, you appreciate that blind was on a platform. And if another hunter goes and uses it, or however many, they're going to say, that's quality work. That's good. I'll go back.
Yep.
Okay, but if you're sitting in a blind and you have issues, you might second guess what you want to do. So
Yeah, and that's like, you know, Steve went out and put a blind up for you on that one farm because it's on a food source. We haven't had a blind there all year.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that. I know that. Steve and Mason know that. The ones on the platform are great. They don't blow away. We screw them down. Like, you know, it makes it a better better experience, like you're saying. Sometimes you got to run and gun, but I mean, majority of our blinds, they were up in August. I mean, them deer had time to adapt to them, and but yeah, you're 100% right. Like,
Well, as a beginner, okay, there's certain things that you notice.
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, I'll do it again. Or, no, I just had a bad experience.
yeah,
Okay? And that was just a good experience.
yeah,
So that's something that I want to tell you about.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
so that
that.
if somebody else comes out and says, well, do you have it on a platform, or is you on the floor, on the ground, or whatever, they might be a continual
Yeah.
customer.
And like you're saying, we had a lot of guys this year that are only confined to ground blinds. They loved that, and it took one client to say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we did. I told them I'd build them, and we built them.
You
All
build
I
it, they
can
will
say is
come.
you guys hunted your asses off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We tried. We tried our hardest, that's for sure.
You guys did. You guys.
That's
hunted your
that's
asses
what you
off.
gotta do. You gotta hunt.
Even though you weren't seeing nothing in the morning, you guys still hung it out there.
Yeah. 5 days.
A lot of guys
It is
don't do
mental.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah.
freaking mental.
Towards the end, it's definitely like this morning. I was like, it was a mental mind game.
I used to
was
sit
like-
all day. I used to sit all day. There is no way, if I'm on a trip anymore, if I
Yeah.
go somewhere, I'm not doing
that.
it.
My wife came out here and I hunted with her the first night she was out here. I looked like a 2-year-old in the tree stand. I was left to right. I can't do that shit no more.
Yeah.
No way.
But I used to
There
love
am
it.
I sitting all day in a tree stand. No
That's,
way.
I
that's
used
a
to
benefit
love
of the
it.
saddle.
I used to love it, and anymore it's like when a guy sits all day in like fucking 5 days, 60 hours. Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
Like there's times, like Pat said, you're mentally fucked. Like I want to go in.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything. I'm cold. I want to. I have no cell service. Can't watch porn or anything. I mean, I want to go in.
No, honestly, I think this no cell service kept me in the woods longer because I think there are times when I probably would have been like, hey, can I move? I think I would have asked to move spots, something like that. But like having no cell service, I was like, well, I'm just going to sit here then.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go through it,
And it's rough on our side. Like all year, guys will be calling me. Like inside this lodge, like once in a great while, like this evening, my mom called me. I got a hold of her. I usually have to walk to the end of that driveway,
Yeah.
And then sometimes a guy will text me. I won't get it till the next day.
Yeah.
You're trying to run a business. It's fucking tough.
Yeah.
You can't watch a Facebook video like your guys' podcast. I can't get that to load in here. Seriously, I gotta go to town. Like if I got an important call, I gotta drive up to Pleasant Hill.
Yeah.
So I know I'm not gonna drop that call.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you're trying to run a business, or when clients are out here and they killed a deer. Mm-hmm. We had that second gun. Mark from Minnesota.
Yeah, Mark.
Shot a 160-inch deer. Tried calling me 4 or 5 times. Couldn't get a hold of me.
Oh man.
The only way he
And
got
I
a
was
hold
his
of us.
guide.
Yeah.
Well, he finally got a hold of Mason.
Yeah, through a text, not
Through a
even a
text.
call.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a struggle out here.
Yeah.
That is a huge struggle.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
Yeah, I that's definitely it. I wasn't concerned about it at all. Like it was just like, okay, it's just like going up to the cabin. Like I don't have cell service. Like it's not that big a deal to me because I'm
Yeah.
used to that when I go to the cabin. But I mean,
But it's important. Is like we had that incident this year with a client.
Mm-hmm.
He fell.
oh yeah,
If he didn't have cell service,
Yep.
luckily, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was bad,
right.
but I mean, if you don't have cell service, I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, what do
Yeah.
you do?
There's nothing you could do at that moment. Like it's,
I mean,
I'm the king of Illinois.
there it is.
I'm the king of Illinois.
Can we cut Pat off of Bloody Marys for the night?
no, we have to keep feeding him Bloody Marys.
Doesn't he have to
We're
drive
still
in the
half-
morning?
half a
I can
gallon
drive.
over there.
I'd just like to
Let Pat enjoy
say
himself.
hats off to Patrick
Yep.
for being diligent and continually thinking this is going to happen and never giving up. I know what it's like to be somebody that, do I want to do this again after that experience? And I feel that you're going to be an archer and you're going to enjoy it and you're going to learn and you're going to prosper from it. You're gonna go get them Pennsylvania deer and find out their habits and eventually I'll be eating some of your bologna. So hats off to you, buddy.
Steve, what did you learn from this season? Like I mean, this is your first year out
Come
here.
on,
so like,
Steve,
what
let's
did,
hear
what
it.
did you learn
Stevie baby.
Stevie baby.
Just anything, really.
Come on, Stevie
Just the way
baby.
people hunt.
Yeah.
They hunt a little different than I'm used to.
Okay.
You know, you can't treat this like Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
because if you do, you're never going to get nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just not.
Okay.
Hunting the crops is totally different than hunting back in,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, where you use a lot of timber,
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what I learned about it a lot this year.
Yeah.
What else have you learned? There's got to be more than that.
That I have to deal with Scott shit every day, that I have to deal with, but, And Mason. Yeah, let's not forget Mason.
They became friends this year. They became friends. Don't let them lie to you.
Oh yeah.
But
when
yeah,
you live
that's
That's
really the hardest. That's the biggest thing to learn out here.
Yeah. Learn how to hunt crops and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Because you're hunting fence rows and all of that stuff. You don't have that in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so used to hunting Pennsylvania where you come out here, you don't see that hardly.
No.
Unless you go down like the Lancaster.
I mean, look at the ditch, though.
Oh yeah, we have a property right down the thing here that it's a ditch. That's all it is a ditch. And we killed two good bucks out of it.
Like when you
Literally,
no
it's
timber, just a
It's
pure.
a
No, it's-
timber.
it's
it has
timber.
timber,
Okay.
but there's a big ditch right in the middle.
Yeah.
It might be 100 yards.
Not even.
At most
Probably
80 yards wide.
Yeah,
Probably
wide.
80.
I mean long.
It's
About 400
probably-
or 500 yards
yeah.
long.
Yeah.
The deer can go in there and just hide and go out the other side, and nobody even knows they're there.
Wow. Yeah.
It makes a big.
Big learning curve.
Like I put a guy up here. Scott and I threw a curveball one day. And
Yeah.
What was that second
Now,
gun?
now let's put it this way. None of those guys wanted to put a blind up there.
We didn't. Mason and I went and looked at it. And we're like, we're not putting a blind here. We're not even wasting our
I'm
time.
like, you need to put a blind there.
Yeah.
No,
We're not wasting our time.
Second gun, it's slow. Killed a couple by this point.
So,
Guy from Florida. I said, Steve, let's throw a curveball.
He throws a curveball. I throw this guy. Actually, I put what was the name for the guy
Eric
from
Ship.
Minnesota?
Oh, no, you put Pat in there.
Put Pat from Minnesota
In the
in there.
morning.
He's seen a couple does. I said to Eric from Florida, I said, "You're gonna hunt this tonight."
Yeah.
I sat him in a chair underneath the tree. Deer come from behind him, come out in front of him at 11 yards with a shotgun, just smoked him. I thought the guy was gonna football tackle me when I went to pick the deer up.
That's
But yeah,
awesome.
you wouldn't think that little fence rows that aren't even 10 yards wide is going
Right.
to produce a deer.
Wow.
You wouldn't see
it
that
is
in
out here.
Pennsylvania, but you'll see that out
Yeah.
here.
Exactly.
You can look at these big cornfields, like the Bradshaw farm we have. It's 500 acres of corn. And you could sit in a patch of timber that's an acre in the middle of this. You're the pimple on God's ass at that point.
Right.
And you're staring at nothing but corn. And then all of a sudden, you blink and you turn your head and there's a buck. And you're like, how the fuck did he get there? He got there because realistically, them fields, there's so many dips
Yeah.
in them and stuff. I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes a couple years ago. We had a guy that worked for us, Harold. He saw it when he was younger. I've seen a deer crawl on all fours, like army crawl through a ditch, because he knew he was concealed.
Yeah. They'll do anything
know,
to be
seriously.
concealed. Yeah.
And you don't. Well, it's not because we don't see it. We don't have stuff like that in Pennsylvania. I grew up there.
Yeah.
I hunted a mountain. My family, our cabin, we have 23,000 acres.
Yep.
I mean, my grandfather would take me down in the cast, and the sun would never shine.
I mean,
You
you
know,
got a ditch
like-
like that one over there at the ditch at the 88. You would do that in Pennsylvania, you could probably sit there 3 months and never see a deer.
You know.
You do that here,
Yeah.
give it a week, you're going to kill a deer out of it.
You'll see when. Yeah. Wow.
And then you get guys. I mean, I've had it before. Like that spot I just told you, that little 1 acre patch. We've killed 3 deer out of there since I've been doing this. And every guy I put in there, they look at me like I'm an idiot. Like, why am I doing this?
Right.
And whether they kill one or not, you pick them up. How many deer just say, oh, I saw 25 deer. Saw 30 deer. Now, granted, they could see for 1,000 yards around them.
Right.
But, we've killed 3 out of there.
Yeah.
And guys are like,
But I also learned that, these guys, some guys rather see more deer than bucks.
Then quality buck. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're happy seeing deer, they're happy.
Yeah.
It's not,
my
it doesn't matter.
philosophy is, I don't care if you see 100 deer. I don't care. I truly do not care.
Yeah.
I care that you see the right deer and you get an opportunity at it. I don't care if that's the only deer you see,
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's because like I saw 2 easy shooter buck the time I've been here in the 5 days. One was the 180. We think it was the 180, and the other one was like the 150.
Yeah, and here's a perfect example. If we're in there, if we move you a day early
Yep.
into that bean cove in your saddle, you kill that one right there on the other side of that blowdown.
Yep. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. It's just hunting is a big thing of
You know?
luck. Like everything has to be on your side. Like scouting is. I do a shit ton of scouting, all that kind of stuff. Like, but if you have cameras of all these buck, like if you decide to go left instead of right, like
That's
it's just,
it. But our
it
best scouting
changes
is you
everything.
guys.
Yeah.
Because you could see 360 degrees. Like I said, going back to the camera, all you can see is 10 yards.
Yep.
Unless there's a border collie.
What was that? You kind of slurred your words there a
Unless
little bit.
there's a border collie. Dinner was ready like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Tonight's steak
I'm
night. Let's go eat
Hey.
while our steaks are hot.
Yeah.
What before we end it? How can people get a hold of you to book a
Facebook,
trip, anything like that?
B&D Outfitters, LLC. On Facebook, that's probably where we're the most active. You know, go to bndil.com. That's probably the 2 best ways.
Okay.
When you're on our website, fill out a contact form, put what you're interested in. It'll send an email to me. I usually respond those in a half hour once I get them.
Yeah.
So that's the way. You know, really, I think me, Stephen Mason, and Deb downstairs, we could all say this. We really enjoyed having you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys coming out. I know the hunting was tough. We had a little bit of success, you know, from seeing them to Jeff smoking a doe, mature doe, and
Just to
No,
learn experiences
just-
too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
it was a good time, and really enjoyed having you guys, and looking forward to seeing you guys at Harrisburg, and
Yeah.
hopefully back here next year. So
Yeah.
thanks again.
Yeah.
Appreciate
we
it.
Thank you guys a lot. Scott, Mason, Steve,
Yep.
and Deb, who's downstairs right now.
Thank you guys. Pleasure having you guys. Pleasure getting to meet y'all.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
It's nice meeting you.
Go team.
Ow. Now it's dinner time.
Yes.